So why are you looking at literally this could be an entry level position? It's not entry level because we're looking for somebody who has network experience, of course, understands networking, hardware, configuration, and all that.
So
But
it's not
really,
entry level. So
it's not entry level, but it's a level.
Derek speaking.
Yes. Good morning, Derek. My name is Emma. I'm calling from ETS. You answered our ad for level 1 support.
Yes. Good morning.
Good morning. So why don't you tell me a little bit about yourself and what you're currently doing?
Okay. My last position was technical support engineer for data backup. That was due to they laid us off around December because they were getting ready to merge with a company called Cohesity, which is a San Jose artificial intelligence data backup company. So I worked there for about 2 years. A typical day, you would field calls and field tickets while doing log analysis and working with Docker and Kubernetes and some of the Windows Server platforms, also using Linux, and pretty much, anyone that may have a Microsoft shop. So for example, let's say your company called up today and you had some issues with data backup. We would try to rectify those issues. A lot of the cases that I worked on were proof of concept cases. So it might be a sales engineer that brings in, another technical support engineer and, some tier 3 people to try to resolve a few different issues. We worked with Dell and Data Domain, net backup appliances and things of that nature to resolve issues. I typically I pretty much have a desktop support background. Initially, when I started off earlier in my career, I worked with AIG, Travelers, Blue Cross Blue Shield, Medica, TCS, doing a lot of the Windows 7 or Windows XP to Windows 7 migrations here in Minneapolis and St. Paul. My career shifted as I became a Citrix administrator for a managed service Syntax, and then I worked as a Salesforce administrator, and I took a 1-year contract at a software as a service company called. They work with, a lot of, for example, if you were to get an MRI, we dealt with medical imaging software. So you load that MRI, we reproduce the issue, and we try to resolve those issues. And also what we do is we do production with GitLab, a lot of DevOps software such as Kubernetes, Docker, working with the full lifecycle management, creating user stories with Jira. And I was also a technical instructor from 2016 to 2022. I got over 200 people certified and enrolled at the Osiris Organization nonprofit. I did that after work and, on the weekends. And that's pretty much, my technical experience.
Well, thank you so much for that summary. I think that checked a lot of boxes. And as you have checked all the first boxes for me personally, my biggest question, Derek, is that you obviously have a lot of experience in the administration and networking and hardware and software, and so why are you looking at literally this could be an entry level position?
Oh, I wasn't aware it was an entry level position. I was actually trying to find out more information about the companies in which I requested from you. I didn't get any information back, but I was trying to look on the website, and I wasn't sure exactly what company you guys had.
Mm-hmm. Okay, got it. All right. So I don't know that I've received your request for more information, but irregardless, what we do here is we manage point of sale systems for small restaurants.
Okay.
So it's not entry level because we're looking for somebody who has network experience, of course, understands networking, hardware, configuration, and all that.
So
but
it's not
really
entry level.
It's not entry level, but it's a level 1 tech support.
Okay. Oh,
I guess that's what I meant to say.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's mostly I would say a lot of it is software troubleshooting. We manage 4 different software products for specifically for point of sale systems within restaurants. Only one of the 4 software programs we get the majority of the calls from. The other 3 are pretty stable. Merchants have been using it for 7 to 10 years, so we don't get a lot of calls from them, just more menu edits and some other details, but it's not where major volume is coming from. Our volume comes from our newest software product, which is I don't know if it's considered a cloud or not because it has a local server, but it's an iOS platform, and it's basically everything from a restaurant environment. So our calls are mostly, I would have to say 60% of it is just kind of probably I could take the call, and I'm not, I don't work in that department, but a lot of it is reboot, follow the cable, tell me if the router's, light is on. A lot of it is user error, just non-tech savvy, non-computer savvy waiters and servers calling in because they can't process a payment, or they can't log in successfully, or the printer isn't working, orders aren't going to the kitchen printer, etc. And then only I would say not even 10%, not even 5%, maybe 2%. We have to send back to the developers to look at because it's potentially a bug in the newest release or something like that. But that's more uncommon. But we do get them especially after a new release. And then a lot of it is sometimes trying to figure out how to get a merchant stable because of their networking issues. It could be they're having intermittent internet issues and something is not stabilizing and communicating with the iPad and the printer, or the iPad is not being stable, it's losing connection every so often. But the main focus of this position and what it really entails is just picture a restaurant environment when somebody's calling, because they never call when it's downtime, to look at an issue. It's always in the middle of lunch or the middle of dinner or, something, and everything is like urgent at that point. That, a customer is standing in front of them trying to check out, but the payment processing side isn't going through, and they're getting error messages, or they're trying to bring up a menu item and duplicate it and it's not happening, or they decided they're going to run a new happy hour special in 3 hours and we need to edit the menu and have it ready. And so it's all over the board, the kind of calls we get. But I would have to say 40 to 60% of them are pure, level 1 reboot, user error, or, something's not plugged in, or it's an ISP issue. It's not our issue.
Oh, okay.
I mean, that's kind of a brief summary of a day in on our tech support desk. We work in the office Monday through Friday. All of the support that we give to our clients are remote. It's all telephone support. I do have a support manager that goes out on site, but that's a fee base. Like if I have to send my support manager on site, we charge the customer for that because their support contract covers telephone support 24/7. The other part about this specific position is that it requires every 3 weeks, it's an on-call rotation. So every 3 weeks, you would need to be on call 24/7 for clients. While we don't get a ton of traffic, we still have to be able to answer the phone, especially at 1 a.m. a bar is trying to close or collect payments and they can't. Anything that stops the business from performing, from doing business, is considered, it's a call that we have to take. They have to close out for the night, or they have to run a payment, or they have to get orders to the kitchen. Otherwise, if it's something that can wait for the next day, it's pushed to the next day. It's not considered after hours support, an urgent issue.
You said every 3 weeks. You said?
Yeah, it's every 3 weeks.
24/7.
Yes, and it's for a whole week. Everybody takes a week at a time. So there's 3 people in that department that rotates the on-call shift.
Okay. So you're pretty much just doing the support of the POS systems.
Correct.
Okay. And you said this is all on site, but sometimes if the on-site support might have to, they might have to go on site and the customer be charged.
Right. The only person who goes on site is the support manager.
Okay. How many calls do you think you get typically on a day?
It differs. I mean, from day to day, and Mondays are the slowest day. But, to be quite honest, it's not that busy. It's just that we always have things to work on, whether it's a menu edit or prepping equipment, configuring new equipment for new installs, and so forth. But the phones don't ring like off the hook. Some calls will take a minute, 5 minutes, 30 minutes. Our rule of thumb is that anything that's more than 20 minutes, we need to kind of, tell the customer that we need to hang up and try to, brainstorm with the team or the support manager and get more details, because typically we should be able to resolve everything within the first 5 to 10 minutes. If not, then there's something we're missing or they're missing, and staying on the phone and you just end up going around in a circle because it's something that's not being articulated correctly, because everything should be able to be fixed within a really short time.
Yeah, so the restaurant can get back to
exactly.
Okay.
Right. Yeah.
And how soon are you guys looking to have someone start?
Well, when we find the right person. The position's available today. The rep who was in that position left 2 weeks ago. So right now we have 2 people on the desk in that department, and we're going to add a third. And I personally, I feel that the position can be done with 2 reps, but our focus is delivering outstanding customer service. So I always want somebody to be available to take and just to kind of be more proactive. So we do a lot of sweeps. We do a lot of, back of the house stuff to make sure that we are being proactive with the accounts. And so we tend to, do projects like that, a lot of sweeping projects for various reasons, not just updates or not just, but to just monitor accounts, making sure, especially because we handle the payment processing as well.
Okay.
Sometimes things happen in the back office. Sometimes things are stuck and we don't know that they're stuck, and the merchant doesn't even know that they're stuck because they don't check their accounts daily to make sure that they're getting their funding daily. And sometimes, there's a lapse, and in payment processing, if you don't finalize a payment within 3 days, then there's a potential chargeback and other issues that come up with payment processing. So we try to stay ahead of the game as much as possible, and we always have accounts that we need to work on stabilizing them more proficiently. So there's always open tickets, but on a given day, there's usually not more than 10 to 15 open tickets.
Okay. And you guys use ServiceNow or any specific Remedy ticketing system?
No, we use our operating platform, which is called Pegasus, but we're actually just started the conversion process, going to a platform called Iris, which is more industry-based. we're an independent sales organization for electronic payments, and we support the payments and point of sale system. So we sell it, we program it, we install, we do all the training, and we support it.
Okay. What would you say the learning curve of the position and expectation of a prospective employee coming on board within the first 60 to 90 days?
Yeah. So if somebody is a quick learner, which, so to be quite honest and transparent, it's not, the position doesn't need someone who's extremely experienced per se. It's all you can learn. Learning the software is the most important piece. So being software savvy, being able to navigate and retain the information. I mean, I've seen people who are really software savvy. I've seen them up and running completely independent within 30 days, while I've seen others who aren't as good as retaining information that, it's taking 6-8 months, and I'm not looking for that kind of candidate. Been there, done that twice, and I'm really looking for someone, because what is proven to me long term is that the person who takes quite a while to be up and running, they are usually not retaining the information long term. So the rep that just left, he's a perfect example, told himself that he can multitask, has good retention, blah, blah, blah. Now, don't get me wrong, I enjoyed his employment here, and he did a good job, but he was never ahead of the game because his retention was very low. So he always had to, go back to notes and notes. But still he couldn't, and he was terrible at multitasking, and this is where you have to be really good at multitasking. And some people don't understand the multitasking that I'm referring to. I'm not saying that you can't manage 5 projects at the same time. I'm saying you have to be able to manage 3 phone calls, not at the same time, but be able to know, you pick up a phone call, you understand the situation, let's say you get them up and running. But prior to that phone call, you were in the middle of something else. Getting back to where you were and picking up exactly where you left off and what needs to be done is what I call multitasking, where it takes a while to get back to oh shoot, where did I leave off? What needs to be done here? And did I enter all the information into that ticket that I just got off the phone with?
Sounds like the position
so
I am. Yeah,
and it's right. And so it's not a hard position for somebody who is very organized and retains information well. And can multitask. Of course, there's other skills that are absolutely required, like good communication, articulation, which clearly you're a good communicator, you articulate well, so those, you don't, that's not even a concern. And that's why I do these first time phone calls, just to hear somebody's voice on the phone, to understand how they communicate with others. And, that's the first test for me, is to pass that communication, articulation, and voice style on the phone, since it's all phone support. So I don't, again, if, it's not so much that it's a quick learner. I get it. Some people, they learn differently. They need to have their hands on. They need to do it, feel it, and play with it for a while before they get it. I understand there are different learning styles, but I'm saying within the 30 to max 90 days, if you don't actually get it, where you can take a phone call and you can, on call, and, at 10 p.m. at night, somebody has this problem and it doesn't click with you, chances are it's never going to click, because there's only so many things you can do that we can do within the software.
I had a question. Now, so, with the on-call, being that it's an on-site position, if you're on call every 3 weeks, 24/7, how does that work?
Well, you're in the office during the day. you go home at night and you have the after hours on call duty, and then you come back to work the next day. I mean, I'm so you're taking the evening calls basically, and the weekend calls for the week that you're on call.
Right. So is that at home, or do you got to
the office every day? Nope, you do it at home. It's remote. You have a laptop and a phone. Mm-hmm.
I just want to clear that up. Okay.
Yeah. Nope, you have a laptop and a phone to take after hours calls. To be quite honest, no one's ever really complained about the after hours on call because the traffic is not unmanageable. Actually, some nights you go without 0 calls. Now, sometimes not promising anything, but sometimes you bombarded with calls because weather, outages, and then you might get. But there's never been a time where if we were totally bombarded with calls that, and we can see that traffic, we ask the other reps to help with the volume, even if they're not on calls. Just if we see something like that, where but for the most part, it is manageable. It's just annoying, like if you have to answer the phone at 1 a.m. because the bar couldn't close out their tickets and they can't enter in tips, and and the bartender might have had a couple of cocktails during his shift. Just stuff like that is annoying to deal with at 1 a.m. But how often does it happen for it to really make a difference? It doesn't.
Okay.
But I'm trying to paint worst case back to the best case scenarios,
Okay, that makes sense. I'm trying to think of any other questions that I had. Now, that person you mentioned, how long were they there?
2.5 years.
Oh, okay. 2.5, okay, all right.
Mm-hmm. Everyone. So we run a very small company. There's only 8 employees. My support team consists of 3 reps. The one that just left was 2.5 years. The other one's been here a little over 2.5 as well. And then the other one has been here 3.5 years. And then my support manager has been here 15 years. My administrative person has been here 12 years. And then my sales reps I only have 3 sales reps. One only doesn't even deal with point of sale. She sells payment processing, and she's our bank representative, and she's been with me 17 years. So my sales rep who does point of sale systems 100%, he's been with me 15 years. So I have either, 10 to 20 years of employment or, the 3-year gap. That's it. And
Okay.
it seems, it's my support team that, not my support manager, but my support team are the ones who, prior to that, this crew that's on right now, that's, the 3-year gap, that's kind of prior to that, the two support reps that were here prior to that were here for 5 years. I don't have a lot of revolving door, a lot of in and out of employees. We keep it small. We keep it, I tend to think that we're good employers because we're pretty open. It's a really open door policy. There's only just me and my husband owns the company, and there's not a lot of in between. There's a support manager, and my administrator is more like my general manager. She kind of has her hands and oversees everything in the company when I'm not here, or even when I am here, and that's pretty much it.
Okay. Well, what would you say that interests you more so about my resume when you saw it?
That's a really good question. And at first I look for experience, and clearly you have it. I was a little, you're a little bit overqualified for the position. So, but I tend to just at least have a conversation with everyone, because I just never know who's my next unicorn. I'm looking for somebody who really is wanting to call I'm looking for somebody to be here long term, to be quite honest, because my support manager's been doing it for 15 years, and he's the only level 2 person I have as part of my staff. So I'm looking for somebody not to, in the past, over the guys who are here now, I kind of went a little bit less experienced, and I'm not doing that anymore. I just want someone who's solid, who I can train, retain the information, and understand really taking more ownership of their responsibilities versus being told what to do every time. One thing we don't want to micromanage. I'm waiting right now. I don't have anybody there's one person who wants to be a team lead, but he hasn't proven to me yet that he's capable of being the team lead. So we're giving him a chance, but I'm looking for that person who is going to be here long term, who is going to want to take kind of the lead on the department, who's always going to be proactive, who's not looking for somebody who just needs to get the job done for the day. I'm looking for a long-term partner.
Okay, and the person you said there was a team lead, how long have they been at the company for?
He's been here 2.5 years, less than the other reps, but more diverse and able to handle situations more quickly. He doesn't have any mistakes with his work. He's progressed very nicely so far.
But how soon?
But
go ahead.
Mm-hmm. So the position is open. The last rep who was here, he left 2 weeks ago. Okay. I don't have to fill it tomorrow. I want to find the right person and fill it with somebody who I feel who's committed to being here long term. Now, as far as the growth, that's what everybody wants to know. If I'm going to be here long term, how am I not going to get bored, right? Well, software can never be boring because, especially because of the industry I'm in. It's like electronic payments. Because we just don't do the point of sale hardware software. We also manage the payments, which makes it more dynamic. There's always things changing. There's always things adding. There's always you're looking to integrate other products within the point of sale software, and you're looking to try new configurations that's stable. Because every merchant is so different. Their stability, their network stability is so different, because we're dealing with small mom and pop establishments. Most of them are not computer savvy. We have to hold their hands to go find the router. They don't know, we deal with a lot of small towns. We don't deal with the big metro city area kind of clientele. Our niche is small town, mom pop type establishments.
Okay. So kind of the surrounding areas, Orono, Medina, Corcoran, Hanover, Rogers, Victoria.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you guys don't
and
deal
some with... we even deal with some like a little bit, even in Iowa, Nebraska.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm. Okay.
So that's an overview. Derek, I'm going to leave it up to you now. If you would like to pursue or have additional questions, just shoot me an email and we can go from there. I'm just dealing right now with, meeting everybody on the phone, and then if it's something you're interested in pursuing, just reach out and we can set up a Zoom interview.
Okay. So you're saying next steps, I should reach out via email.
Mm-hmm. Correct. The same way we've been communicating, and say, that you want to set up a Zoom, and then that's my next step is I do a Zoom. I don't have everyone come in until that's like, step number 3, because I don't want to waste anybody's time or my time. I think like we can do a lot of preliminaries. First, the phone, which is the phone voice, as I mentioned to you, is super important. and then we can do a lot by Zoom, and then if we get past that, then we'll do an in-person where you meet the team.
Okay, that'll work. I'll definitely do that. You'll be hearing from me.
Okay. All right, Derek. Thanks for the call, and you have a great day.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, bye-bye.
Thanks, bye. Y'all, that was a horrible interview. Let me do my quick little recap right now. Man. I'm gonna do my key points as we go right here. That was terrible.
Yeah.
Now, it's not remote at all. Okay, whatever. Mandatory on-call every 3 weeks, 24/7. So you bring the laptop. Mandatory call every 3 weeks. She really didn't explain as to how that works with the rate or whatever. I don't even know where to start with this place. You got a guy that's been there 2.5 years, and you're trashing this dude, talking about he complained about his retention time. And I'm like, well, damn, he's been there 2.5 years, but you're complaining about his retention time. You should have canned him if that was an issue. There's no technical growth. You're talking about software doesn't get boring. What the hell are you talking about? Get out of here. This is POS. Okay, so anyway, they got a real bad training problem and a culture problem. I've never heard nobody say, well, email me if you want to continue the conversation. I'm going to go ahead and do a Zoom. I'm going to go ahead. I'm just for SHI and giggles. I'm going to go ahead and do a Zoom for you guys. This was terrible. This is something just to get you by. She said, well, I'm looking for something long term. Now, her tone was crappy. I mean, it was just, when you listen to this, you're going to be like, okay. So I said, well, what are the next steps for somebody to start or whatever? First, she tried to say it wasn't entry level. Then she said it was. She's just all over the place. Now, she lied and said that she didn't receive an email from me. She wouldn't give me her email address. This was all through Indeed. And she basically, I had asked her at 3:02 yesterday. Now, mind you, she set up the appointment, saying it would be August 8th at 11 a.m. And I asked her 20 minutes later, is this through Teams? If so, can you send an invite? And is there a website for me to review the company? And I really couldn't find a website. So she started kind of, remember when I was mentioning about the website? It was just, I'm going to let y'all hear. But, and you're going to be supporting these little redneck towns probably. You see, I knew my demographic. I said, okay, Medina, Orono, Excelsior, Mound, Victoria, Chaska, Shakopee, Carver, Watertown, Delano, Hanover, Albertville, maybe. Jordan, Helena, Belle Plaine, Assumption, Credit River, Cedar Lake, Elko, Lionsdale, Hilderberg, Union Hill, Montgomery, Lexington, Wheatland, Vicelli, Cedar. These are kind of the little towns you probably going to be calling up. As you said, somebody might call up drunk. And so I can already tell you right now, just by the way that her tone on the phone and the way that she was going about and the way that she responded to my questions and how she trashed her employees, this has a janky culture. This has a super janky culture. But you know what? I'm going to upload this for you guys. So that's my key points. That's my summary. I usually don't do it in the summary. I usually do a review over other podcasts. I'm going to upload this today. I got two more videos for y'all to check out. You know what I'm saying? I just went over and hollered at my man Cyber International. I'm trying to find him a cybersecurity joint. Oh, he's going to have a field day when he hears this. He is going to laugh his ass off. This is a position just to get you by. Horrible interview. That is the title. Horrible interview.